Welcome to the Beyond the Craft podcast, your gateway to the world behind the scenes of creativity and talent. I'm Kev McRae, the creative director and founder of Revenant, where we breathe life into concepts through the art of animation. And alongside me is my cousin Keith, the founder and director of Breakout Recruitment, whose expertise spans the realms of talent acquisition and industry innovation. Together, we are embarking on a journey to uncover the hidden gems, untold stories, and invaluable lessons within our respective fields. Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring creative soul, our goal is to provide a unique blend of experiences, knowledge, and insights that will trigger your passion and fuel your journey. Through candid conversations and shared wisdom, we invite you to join us as we navigate the ever-evolving landscapes of animation and recruitment. Our hope is that you'll not only find inspiration in our discussions, but also practical advice that you can apply to your own endeavors. Welcome to Beyond the Craft.
Well, I suppose then we should really talk about your career first. A little bit about you, since we're here in your gaff.
Why not?
Why not?
Hit me.
Hit you, figuratively or literally. Yeah. Tell us where it started, Kev.
All right. Do you want a long version or the short version?
Well, we've only got half an hour, so the short version.
Okay, the short version. I'll give you a sort of rundown. So basically, I finished my master's degree in Kingston in London. And then
you have a master's?
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Started in Kingston, went into Soho, started running film tapes around Soho. Radiator Blues was the first film that I worked on, which was Harry Potter.
Harry Potter?
Yeah, it was like Order of the Phoenix or Goblet of Fire or something like that. But they were all given these kind of like hidden kind of names.
What was it called?
Radiator Blues 3.
Love to be the guy who comes up with those names.
And then it was around about the time I think Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was doing like Doom, you know. Film that he's famous for.
He's made a few mucky films though.
Yeah, but this was like the start of his acting career when he got out of wrestling. Anywho, was running film cans around Soho as a runner, obviously. So from MPC to Frame Store to the Mill, double negative, and then back again to Cinesight. Got to meet a few famous directors: Tim Burton, Chris Nolan, Jerry Bruckheimer.
You don't
Antoine
have the numbers still? No. No. Just start tapping them up for a little bit of work.
Yeah, and then I got into the tracking department, did a bit of tracking, match moving, and then it was just hugely competitive, like in Soho at that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wasn't moving fast enough up the ladder, sort of thing. So I found a job in broadcast, started doing work for Channel 4, and then some independent production companies, and then met my wife. And she got a job up here in Scotland. And
but you didn't want to move back up here, did you?
I did. I was looking for an excuse to move back up here, to be honest. Like,
she gave you one.
You know, like when I was living in London, for the first 2 weeks after payday, I'd be totally fine. Like, it was like Life of Riley. It was brilliant. Social life was fantastic. Transport was great. But then the latter 2 weeks was just hellish, like, because it was just like I had no money, no quality of life, like, you know, could barely afford to get the bus. Like, I was living in Muswell Hill. The work was in Chelsea Harbour. I remember one day I had to walk like 5 hours across London to kind of get home because
you'd blown all your money in Soho.
Blown it all, yep, on the new girlfriend.
On the new girlfriend? Was it a sound investment?
Well, she's still
waiting for it to pay off.
And moved back up here, got a job with a company around the corner called ISO Design, who are still here. They do more sort of installation and experiential design work. Yeah. They used to do a lot of broadcast stuff. When I was there, they were doing like documentaries for Channel 4 and BBC and stuff, but now they do sort of less of that, and they're doing more experiential stuff for the Middle East. And then we went traveling for like a year, came back, and then got a job, another job, head of graphics around the corner for like a BBC educational kind of like motion archive. Like, I was doing the graphics for kids, short form content. And then it was just getting offered like loads of freelance work. And I met my previous business partner, Johnny. And then we thought we'd set up a company called Playdead at the time. That was 2011. And
that long ago already.
Yeah. And then during the pandemic, well, actually in 2017, Johnny left. He got itchy feet and met his wife, and they wanted to go and explore Patagonia. So he went and did that for like just under a year, I think. And then
Nothing
he
to
came
do with
back.
working with you.
Of course not. And he didn't. I don't think he wanted to be in front of the computer 24/7, and he wanted to move out further away from the city.
Yeah.
And we kind of like parted ways amicably. I'm still in touch with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy, and then I asked Pam, who's my now business partner, who I'd known for a long time during production. So when Rosie, my wife, had moved up here and was working for location, you know the Kirsty and Phil.
I love it.
Well, she met Pam, and Pam was like production manager, I think, at the time.
Okay.
And so I've just kept in touch with Pam, and then I asked Pam if she wanted to come in and
Nice. Revolutionize your business.
That was 2018, and then the pandemic obviously hit 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were getting approached to more kind of games work, more title sequences, cinematics and stuff. And then we realized, well, we knew for a long time actually, but we weren't sure where the boundaries lay in terms of like legalities with like this other company who were called Playdead in Copenhagen.
Oh yeah.
Who are a games company,
Gaming company,
and
yeah, I
they've
remember you
done
said
Limbo and Inside's awesome kind of indie games, and they're still making stuff now. Although I think the original kind of founder has kind of left, but we decided at that point it was a good time to change the name from Playdead to Revenant. And actually, like when we looked into the name Revenant, we realized that we couldn't copyright it straight away, that we needed to put up a notice like on a public board, because actually Square Enix brought out a game in the 90s called Revenant. This is pre-Leonardo DiCaprio kind of film.
Really? So they still had the rights to the name?
They still had the rights to the name, but they had never used it this century, sort of thing.
But you still had to put a public announcement up.
We had to go to the copyright place in Cardiff, or no, I think it's in Newport or whatever. But they needed to put it up publicly so that basically if Square Enix saw it, they could
come back and ask for some money for the name. Okay.
Not ask for some money, but they could appeal it if they wanted to use the name in the future. So I think because they owned it at the time. But anyway, they never came back. We got it. Bob's your uncle.
Here's Revenant.
Yeah. And that's it. So that's the long and short of it in terms of like business wise. Anyway,
that was quite long.
Was it?
I think we have to wrap this up now.
Right.
No.
Okay. And then over to you.
Over to me. My sort of passage has not been as linear as yours, I think. You've really gone sort of...
I've thought about it a lot.
You've had a real thought process behind your whole career, haven't you? I think mine's sort of gone all the way back from, teenage years to wanting to be a doctor. I actually wanted to be a fighter pilot. I remember that. I went into the RAF office in Aberdeen, and then they told me I needed to be good at physics. So I thought,
how far back are we going?
Oh, man.
Since like you were still at school.
No. The RAF was. I must have just before university actually, but I took like a 4-year gap year for university. I couldn't do the whole straight from high school straight to university. Mind, we even went down to London, didn't we? To check out one of the universities I needed to. I wanted to go to.
I remember that.
We popped in for half an hour.
It was in the east, wasn't it?
University of East London.
Didn't we? Didn't we take the subway like right to the end of the line? I think you were doing like, what was it? A physical.
That was sports science.
Yeah, sports science. That was it. Yeah, I remember that.
But it's actually because of sports science, I've kind of ended up where I am now. So I did first year of sports science. I was into sports, football coaching, and all that kind of jazz. Did all my UEFA coaching courses, but then I failed the multiple choice on I don't know if it was a resit or something for the first year of sports science, and I think it was the resit, and I failed the multiple choice, so I was 1 mark off from passing the course for the year.
Yeah,
and they said I could go back and repeat the year, and I could not be arsed. So then I switched across to sort of marketing and management, and then from there on in, it's kind of just put me in all these multiple directions. So recruitment or headhunting is the last place I ever thought I would end up. Did marketing, so I was out in the Netherlands for a year working for this really tiny company or subsidiary of Bosch. You ever heard of the company Dremel?
Nope.
Yeah, see, exactly. So Dremel, they make these specific... Do you know they use the Dremel actually to carve the winners' names into the Champions League trophy and also into the Oscars? I worked for
fun
that
fact.
company. Yeah. So I was an intern there for a while in marketing. And then I met a guy there and we got into business together. Then we did the whole sports marketing thing. You remember, like the Perfect Image sports marketing, which was just
I forgot about that. The Perfect Image sports
Yeah,
marketing.
which was just,
That name that just rolls off
it
the tongue.
rolls off the tongue to piss him. But that was actually a bit of a saving grace because I think post university, got the degree, did 1 year in the Netherlands. In between that time, studied in Italy, met my wife. Hence the reason I moved to the Netherlands, not by choice. Because your wife decided to move to Scotland, so you went. You kind of wanted to go.
Yeah.
But the Netherlands was really not a place I saw myself going. So I ended up in the Netherlands in 2008, in the middle of the first financial crisis. So getting a job in marketing in the Netherlands was just not happening. So then I had an interview with Michael Page, and I think they used some sort of mind trick or hoodwinked me. Like, do you know when you go in and you don't want to buy something and somebody makes you buy something?
Yeah,
so,
like a car salesman.
Yeah, exactly. So I go in for this little intake interview because I'm telling them I'm looking for marketing jobs or sales jobs or whatever. And then all of a sudden in that same period of like that day, I've had 3 other interviews with other consultants from Michael Page. And I think by the end of that week, I've signed a contract to become a recruitment consultant. And from there on in, it's just all gone pear-shaped. No. So it's been... So it's been a nice journey. So the recruitment thing was nice. I think I enjoy working with people. It's also a curse to the job as well because, I have to deal with all different kinds of emotions around roles and offers and things like this.
Yeah.
But
do you find it's not always like, the people with like the right skills, but the people who are best fitted for the team and are going to be strategic, like in terms of like, are they going to be effective with the team to make something greater? Or are they individually good in their sort of specialism that they're going to like bring the team up? Like, how does that kind of work? Sorry, that was a big question.
That really depends on the client. I think sometimes you will have a hiring manager who just needs somebody to park them in a position and they don't care. They just want them to work in that little box.
Really? Right. Okay.
Definitely the senior level positions. For finance, you certainly need the skill set, but they are looking for more on the strategy side, communication side, the leadership side, really building relationships. So it's getting a little easier to find in finance professionals, but previously because they're all into their numbers and they work towards deadlines and everything's very kind of month end, quarter end, year end, tax, financial statements, bam, done. They just kind of work like that. But then you're seeing now like the sort of mid 30s candidates are so much different. I mean, they're so communicative, but they're very ambitious as well. And I think, you do need to have that strategic approach now if you want to be successful. But there's still people who just don't care and just want a job.
Just kind of wing it. Yeah.
Want to get paid. But then, so I had a good 7-8 years in agency recruitment. And that was quite hard. I hate working with a boss.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you throw KPIs at me.
KPIs.
You don't have KPIs. You've never worked with KPIs, key performance indicators. So here you go. So like in Michael Page, you've got a sheet, right? And then every week or the beginning of the following week, they'll check your activity. Okay. So they'll see how many calls you've made, how many candidates you've called, how many clients you've called, how many meetings you've made, how many interviews you've had, how many CVs you've sent, and how many CVs that you've sent have then turned into interviews. And so on and so forth.
So basically you're getting tracked on your sort of performance over a set period of time. So
a week.
Over like a week. So you've got goals, or did the goalposts change throughout the week? Like not so much.
No. So it was a rigid KPIs, but it was really I don't know if it was to keep people in focus or what it was, but I just do not work well with KPIs. There's a whole debate about them in recruitment, and I think maybe looking back as a junior consultant, it does help just to kind of get you going in the right direction to understand what activities you need to take in order to make the deal or to get a client in and things like that. But I found it so tough to work with KPIs. So I was an average consultant at best, because then I kind of fight against the system in saying I'm just going to do enough just to piss you off, but not do so much that you make enough money off of me that, this kind of thing.
But then was there commission at that time as well? Was there like an incentive to kind of do more or
there
better?
Was. I think at that time we had to do 30,000 euros of placement every quarter, so 10 grand a month. But bear in mind, my salary at that point, what was that? I must have been on like 2,600 euros a month or something like this. And then the commission from that, I really can't remember. It must have only been a few €100 if you hit your target. But then they incentivize it even more, right? So then if you're the top biller for that quarter, then you get to join this elite club, and then you get like, I don't know, a free suit, or you go to a Michelin star restaurant, proper salesy stuff. I mean, it works for a lot of people, but for me, I don't know, I'm just not incentivized that way.
Yeah.
So I did all that agency stuff. And then I found when I was working for a large agency, they did a split model where you were either on the sales side or you were a consultant. So you were either going out to the clients, you were picking up the projects and bringing them in, and then you were either the consultant who would go out, look for the professionals, hand them off to the sales. So I found there was a whole breakdown in communication. And at that point, I thought, fuck this. I'm going to start for myself because I can do it better than everyone else.
Of course you can.
Of course I can. So the first 2.5, 3 years of Breakout, I had a business partner. So we previously worked.
Oh, is this the lady that I met?
Yeah, Kim. It was okay. I think it was nice to have a business partner for a couple of years because I was also still doing the football scouting at that time. So I was really one foot in each camp. I was never fully focused on either, which I think was to the detriment of both activities. But then when the football scouting stopped because Swansea were relegated, I kind of went all in on Breakout. And then I think Kim was having some things happening in her life at that time that was kind of affecting her performance, but we were just getting to the point where the revenue difference was just way too much. So I was maybe, probably wasn't one of my finer moments in the way that I kind of dealt with it. But to be honest, since then, actually, I don't know how you feel being your own.
What year was that? Because I remember we were in Norway, in Alisand. I remember we were at the airport, like we were flying back, and you were still doing work, or you were doing scouting work. You were watching clips of like players and stuff like that. But that must have been towards the end, right? When was that? Like I
think with
I think it was 2018?
It must have been 2 years ago now that I've been sort of just on my own, actually. But I don't know if it was a coincidence or it was market timings or whatever the fuck. But at that point on, everything has just kind of accelerated. It's almost like somebody let you off the chain a little bit. So that's been quite an exciting little journey. You've gone from, I think, my revenue, I think for the two of us, I think for the first 2 years, I think we were lucky if we did about 120K total between the two of us a year. And I can't remember that. I think that was after tax. So that you split that's 60 grand each.
Yeah.
But I think since then it's got to a point now where you talk about imposter syndrome, but now you're sitting there thinking, how the fuck did I actually manage to bring it to a point where I think there was 1 month I did that, or 1 quarter I did.
No way.
And then you're looking at it and you're thinking, this is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I recently sort of discovered that, you know, I can come in on a project, like, because I'm kind of overseeing like everything to like a high level. I'm kind of juggling new business and trying to check out what's going on and making sure that whatever is being delivered is at the best quality it can be. Mm-hmm. But then if a project is maybe getting a bit sketchy or like the client's not happy, then I'll jump in and just like assess what's what sort of thing. But I can easily kind of take that out there and plug it in there. You've got a triangle and a whole square, you know, like a circle space sort of thing. So you need to take that triangle out and put it in that space there.
I think it's definitely like that. And I think that's why I can't have employees. Or maybe that I'm just too tight. I don't know. But I think it's the same. I think now it's like you can be far more reactive when you're by yourself. Like you say, if you see an issue, okay, you can jump in. But with my one, I don't know. I just find my business so competitive. I mean, I'm a tiny little business. They could go to Michael Page, Randstad, Robert World, Greenberg Nielsen. They could go to a bazillion different agencies. But, you know, I've built the relationships and they've chosen me. So I want to make sure that like everything goes into fulfilling that particular project. I don't think I could trust anybody else to do it. But
also they know that they're coming direct to you and they know what the conversation is going to be like. They know how effective you are. Yeah, they know how like, you know, it's like almost like the size that we are at as well, because we're just over like 20 people, you know, compared to like some of the bigger studios, which are 50, 100 kind of plus, you know, they know that basically if a client contracts you to do a job, you're not just going to pass it to like a team, that they're always going to have like a team of like, 4 or 5 kind of hundreds. but they're going to be able to reach you directly if something hits the fan. But
never does though, Kev, does it?
Never does.
Not that they
never
know
does.
of. No.
Never does. But like, you know, they have that sort of reassurance as well. Like they like the fact that they can sort of speak to you directly, like that you're like, you know,
No, that's true. It's the continuity of it all, I think. Because I wonder how your clients would then manage if you went even higher and just decided that, you know, I'm just going to take the money that's coming out of this every year and I'll have somebody just run the shop. I'll dip in and out while I'm going back and forwards to the Caribbean or whatever. You know? So I think it's that it's trust as well.
Too much of a control freak. Like
I think it's the problem, right? It must be a McRae gene.
I had to let some of the control go recently, like over the website stuff, and like, you know, because I always think like you can do the best work in the world, but if you don't present yourself well, it's worthless, because if you don't have value for it, like, or if you don't appreciate the work that you do and you don't present it well, then other people are not going to value that either. Like, you know, so
that's very true.
I think, but anyway, I just maybe it works kind of both ways.
Yeah, I think so. But no, it's fun running your own business, I must admit. Yeah. I think I get a lot more flexibility than you do, but it's at the same time, there's a lot of pressure on top of it though. Because if I drop out of my business, of course, I mean, you've got people who still run your projects, but I'm fucked. So it's, you know, it's like I can't get ill.
Time is money. Time is money, my friend.
I think that's why we chose to go on holiday as well over December, because December is traditionally a very busy time for finance people, because they're doing all the year ends and they're prepping and everything like that. So it was nice. I had 2 weeks actually where there was just almost radio silence. Yeah. Because normally if you go on holiday in the summer, like people are still working, they're still looking for things, but December was great. So I think that's going to be a thing going forward. I'm going to go to winter sun. Yeah. Or go on a skiing holiday. Girls are still a little too young for that.
Right,
Nanny doesn't like the snow. It's sun and beaches, but no.
Do you get pissed off with yourself when you're ill and you're like, you gotta go up, I gotta do work, like it's me, like, you know, because like if you're not there, like you said, you know, you can't leave the ship to run itself. It's not like you can stick it in autopilot. Or
depends what's running at the time, I think. If I'm working on like these contracting positions where the turnaround's like 24, 48 hours, that's really bad timing to get ill. So you'll fight through it. Yeah. But the other ones But
then you know you've got a timeline as well. So if you know you've just got to get to the end of that 48 hours, and then you can just like go to bed, you know, then you can.
I don't know. It's a weird mindset. I just don't feel I have the time to get ill. It's also with kids and family. Yeah. It's like you just can't. It's just, you know, you feel guilty for leaving the other parent also in control of the kids while you're in bed. So I don't know. Guilty. Yeah, I do feel guilty. Also when I'm on holiday though. Because I think that was a big time difference when we were the last time.
You know, like last time we went on holiday, like I said to Rosie, I was like, you know, I'm not the type of person that can just put down the phone for like 2 weeks. Yeah. I was like, because I will be a mess. Like I'll be an anxious kind of mess. If something happens and something goes wrong, I want to know about it like straight away so that I can kind of deal with it, or at least I can prepare myself to deal with it when I come back. Like, no, it's like my previous business partner, Johnny, like he used to have to turn off like his messages and his emails so that he could focus on work. Whereas I'm the opposite. Like I need to have everything open so that if something happens, I can react to it immediately. So I think, but it does distract you obviously from what you're trying to do.
I think that's something I've had to learn the hard way.
I guess like, you know, Johnny always used to say nobody's died from motion graphics, like, you know, or animation, like, you know, animation killed me.
But like, and I think clients are not expecting you either to just come back quickly. Maybe knowing what I know now, no, but like in the past I used to get really anxious about it. Like I felt like I wasn't doing my job properly if I wasn't like, yes sir, no sir, we'll definitely do that sir. And I felt like if I was doing that, then I was providing a really good service, but actually they didn't care, they didn't really like value it. Whereas actually if I went back and said, you know, we're busy with something else at the moment. We really appreciate like, you know, the feedback, and we will get to it, and we've got it scheduled for this time and you'll receive it on X date. Then they like have more value because they appreciate that you're so busy, and they actually want you kind of more because then they know that you've got other clients, you've got other things on, sort of thing, that they can't just snap their fingers and you're going to just jump, you know? Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of true. But I think it is setting the expectations. I think that's something I had to learn the hard way. Yeah. Because I was like the same as you. As soon as somebody brought something my way, it was like a dog with a bone. I'll take it.
Yeah, I know.
But then at a certain point, when you do have the busy periods, I do inform them now that, look, okay, I'm I will pick this up, but it is going to be in like 2 or 3 days time.
Yeah.
But then with me, it works a little differently because then, well, you have the client brief as well, right?
It's more like a conversation. I mean, like depends on the client. Like,
you can set the time frame for that as well. Like they'll say, I have this project. And then you can also say, all right, I can speak to you about this next week. So then you give yourself the time to finish up what you're doing before you come around to that.
Yeah, exactly. But even now, like, you know, if I'm like, oh, we'll get that deck to you or like an initial proposal to you in like 2 weeks time. I'm like, 2 weeks time, that feels like ages away. Like, you know, but actually 2 weeks like goes like that, especially when like you're busy and you're doing lots of other pitches and bids and work and stuff, you know, and I, you know, just chatting to the team and stuff can just go super fast.
Nice one. Well, I think that's the topic for another day then, Kev. Deep dive into your business. Thanks for joining us on our first ever episode of To Be Named podcast. In the following episode, I'll be speaking with Kev in a little more detail into what makes him tick and why he's so successful at what he does. Join us next time.